everyone, I'm Fatmawati and today I will explain about a business relationship. First, I will explain what business relationship is. Business relations are the connection that exist between all entities that engage in commerce. That includes the relationship between various stakeholders in any business work, such as those between employers and employees, employers and business partners, and all the companies a business associated with. So the first thing is the introduction. Providing written introduction for colleges and associated is a vital part of business networking. A good introduction can get the dialogue started in a productive way. A note of caution, jangan membuat perkenalan jika Anda tidak nyaman melakukannya, dan jangan mempertaruhkan reputasi Anda jika Anda memiliki keraguan tentang salah satu pihak. Be clear about what you are asking. When you introduce two people, it's your responsibility to set up the relationship. Often the introduction will be more benefit to one party than other. Perhaps someone would like to do an informational interview, asking for information about a business or an industry, or seeking career advice. When that's the case, be honest about it and be sure that you thank the party who you hope will provide the help. Consider both of your readers. If someone has asked you to make the introduction, be sure you understand what they are hoping to get from the new relationship. Particularly when you are requesting a favor from someone, ascertain that they are willing to provide it before you put them on the spot with an introductory email. Contact both parties separately to assess the level of interest and request permission to make the introduction. Start strong. Start by orienting both readers. Say explicitly that you are making an introduction and explain why. Even though you have connected both parties before reading the email, remember that your readers don't know each other and will need to be reminded about the reason for the introduction. Mention how you met each of the parties, if that seems relevant. And the last from introduction is get your content right. Suggest how the new connection might benefit each person. However, if it is clear that one party will benefit far more than the other, be straightforward about that and thank the person who granting the favor. If you are introducing a recent graduate to an executive, for instance, it is clear that the introduction will likely have a greater business benefit to the younger person. Perkenalan Anda tidak harus panjang, tawarkan sedikit informasi tentang kedua belah pihak yang Anda perkenalkan. Here's a sample introduction that contains the right content. The second is a recommendation. A written recommendation are requested in a lot of situations, for college or graduate school, for other kinds of educational programs, for scholarship, and sometimes for employment purpose. Think carefully if you are asked to provide recommendation. Writing a letter recommendation is a serious responsibility. You should never agree to read a letter of recommendation for someone who is unqualified, someone you don't really know, or someone you feel uncomfortable about supporting for any reason. Understand your purpose and your reader. Put yourself in your reader position. First, what will she be expecting to hear from you? Second, what will she hope to hear you? And the third, what information can you supply that will make her want to accept the applicant? And the fourth, what can you say to make her understand what's special about the candidate? Start strong and specific. The opening of your recommendation is important. Your first paragraph should express how strong your support for the candidate is. If you recommend him for the role, say so. If you offer your strongest possible support for the candidate, say that. If you cannot think of anyone better suited for the position, go ahead and state that here. Be honest about your degree of support and don't make the reader perceive all the way to the end of the letter to learn how strongly you feel about the candidate. Get your content right. As you think about your content, confirm that you have complete information. Be sure that you understand the opportunity that candidate is applying for. If you feel fuzzy about it, find a website that can fill in the gaps in your understanding. It's also important that you understand what the candidate hopes to accomplish in the new program, initiative, or position. If you have a question about this, follow up with the candidate and get more detail about his plan and aspiration. Get a copy of his resume so that your comment will be consistent with the information there. Fix it before you send it. You might have received instruction about the desired length of the letter. Don't go beyond that length, and even if there's no length restriction, don't exceed 2 pages. Keeping the length under control will force you to read a tighter and more persuasive letter. As you revise your draft, imagine how your reader might respond to what you have written. Try to sharpen and condense the message. Before you send off the recommendation, proofread it carefully to ensure that you have left no typo or other errors that might undermine your credibility. LinkedIn in recommendation. Recommendation on LinkedIn can provide valuable insight about an individual or a business, and recruiters and hiring managers to look at them. While this recommendation may not make or break an application, they can help to make the recommendation you read as useful as possible. The third is thank you. There are some customers where a thank you is absolutely required. When someone has written you a recommendation when you have a job interview or an informational interview, or when someone's made an introduction that benefits you. There are other situations where a written thank you is simply gracious. When someone gives you some good advice, it's rarely wrong to send a thank you note. So if you have the impulse to it, it's a worthwhile to consider that sending a thank you note can help strengthen your relationship with your reader. A sincere thank you can leave a lasting impression. The fourth is apologize. An apology is easier to read if you focus on what you are trying to accomplish. Analyzing your objective might sound silly, but it's easy to stray off message with an apology, especially if you are feeling defensive. Your main purpose is to acknowledge your mistake and tell your reader you are sorry for the distress it caused them. Our possible objective might be to let your reader know how you are going to fix the problem, if possible, and to assure them that it won't happen again. Before you start reading, though, consider whether a written apology is the best course. Sometimes an in-person apology means more, partly because it takes more courage, partly because meeting face to face can strengthen the relationship. Consider your reader. Think a bit about your reader and how he might respond to your apology. First, what is your relationship? Second, is your reader your boss, your customer, or someone who reports to you? And the third, what effect did your action have on him? And the last, is he mad, hurt, insulted? How do you think he'll react to your apology? Say you are sorry right up front. Your message should begin with "I'm sorry." A straightforward expression of regret right at the start lets your reader know you are sincere. An explanation should come later. What else do you want to say? It's often helpful for the reader to understand the reason behind your action. Don't say anything to suggest that what you did was not a big deal, and don't try to shift the blame to anyone else, including the reader. You might also let your reader know what you are doing to fix problem, if that's appropriate, and what you are doing to make sure it never happens again. You might also to let your reader know how you are doing the problems. If something feels wrong, fix it. Apologize can be tricky because emotions are often involved. So think about how your reader might respond. The first is the tone sincere. The second, does the apology really take responsibility for what happened? And the last, will the reader believe that the same kind of thing won't happen again? I think that's all from me about business relationship. Thank you for your attention, guys.